eligible to vote in 2024. That could completely overturn the election results for North Carolina and make us a blue stronghold for years.
Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Now today is a little bit different. I have to say, we have a special guest on, and let me tell you why. I met this man in person for the first time. We had talked before since then by phone, but I met him in person at the Rowan County Executive Board meeting, I believe that's correct. And I was impressed, to say the least, and he's going to get into a little bit about what he talked about that night. But without further ado, let me go ahead and introduce Mr. Caleb Edenburn. Now, first of all, Caleb, thank you so much for joining me today. I know that we normally have Lexi or Mason or even AJ or Alex with us, but the schedules hardly ever line up. But yeah, thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you, Zach, and it's great to be on. My name is Caleb Edenburn. I'm the co-chair of the North Carolina Teenage Republicans, or NCTARS. Sort of what I talked about at the Rowan County GOP, and something that's incredibly important to me and why I'm involved in the Teenage Republicans is the fact that a lot of people don't think about, don't realize that teenagers could truly be the tipping point for North Carolina. Last year in 2022, Sherry Beasley got 47.02% of the vote. Ted Budd got 50.76%. Those are the numbers that we saw. But what we didn't see is that those numbers were separated by 140,000. Sounds like a big number, right? It's actually not. There are 378,124 16 and 17-year-olds in North Carolina that will be eligible to vote in 2024. That could completely overturn the election results for North Carolina and make us a blue stronghold for years. What is incredibly important to note throughout that is that, this is a generation that scrolls TikTok, listens to Taylor Swift music, and historically has gone very, very Democratic. And that's sort of what the goal of NCTARS is, to fight against that. You know, you've got teachers in public schools, you've got influencers on social media, all telling these kids, people my age, I guess, that they should vote blue, that they should be liberal, and that's the way to go. It's cool, right? But our aim is to show that that's not the case.
Yeah, and I think this is more important now than ever. Obviously, it's always been important, but right now, the 2024 election, in my mind, I'm not sure about your mind, Caleb, but in my mind, this is the most important election that we've ever had, and if we don't get things right, or at least more right than we did in 2020, then, or I should say 2022, then, there's not much hope for regaining what we've lost. We already know we're not going to regain everything back that we've lost, that we've given away to the Democrats. Now, with that said, I think that me and Caleb could agree, whether you're Republican or Democrat, it really doesn't matter as long as you really do want the best for this country. Now, we may have disagreements of how that might go or how we might do that. But I think here we can all agree that we want the best for this country. We want the best for this state. And that's why I think Caleb is so involved as he is. And, another reason is the 2024 election. It is a presidential election, so we have to think about that. And we also have to think about the corruption in other states. I think about Pennsylvania and their voting system. Now, their last election cycle, we heard from some of the citizens of Pennsylvania, and they said that their voting system is so corrupt that they don't think they'll ever be able to get another Republican governor. And if they do, rest assured, he's probably a rhino. So, with that said, NC is a battleground state because we can no longer rely on states like Pennsylvania or Arizona. We saw what happened out in Arizona. I mean, that was rough. And you see people like Carrie Lake still fighting out there for election integrity. And lawsuits are still in play at the moment, and we're going to see how that goes. Now, with that said, North Carolina is a battleground state. And correct me if I'm wrong, Caleb, but has a president ever has a president ever been elected that did not win North Carolina?
You know, I'm not sure about that, but I've gone through the maps quite a few times over, and it looks like Republicans are definitely going to need North Carolina if we're going to take the country, rather.
Right? This is the same generation that scrolls TikTok, and it's sad to say, but this is also the same generation that trusts the YouTube influencers more than they do their mentors. It's a scary place to be. Now, with that said, we are glad to see people like Caleb getting involved. When did you first start to get involved?
So it actually wasn't that long ago. I first got involved by going to a meeting at my local Republican Party, the Cabarrus County Republican Party. Mm-hmm. They called it a Future Leaders Meeting. Yeah. In January of 2022. And that's sort of where I got my kickoff. I interned with the Republican National Committee and the North Carolina Republican Party for a little bit after that, and then I finally got into the Teenage Republicans and started a group in Cabarrus County around September of that year.
Yeah, it's really hard to even start up a group anymore because people don't want to be political anymore. I get told that all the time. Well, I'm not political. Well, actually, if you're not political, then you're in for some trouble because every problem that we have is, in my opinion, Caleb, a spiritual battle fought politically. So I think that's what we're seeing. My hat's off to you for starting your own group.
Other than that, I just think it's incredibly important that people know just how great it is to get involved, whether it's with the teenage Republicans, the young Republicans, the Republican men, the Republican women. There is a place for everybody. And, you know, whatever age you might be, whatever gender, well, one of the two, preferably. But but whoever you are, there is a way for you to get involved. And for teenagers, NC-TARS is one of those ways. And we're always looking for new members.
Yep. You wonder why I think it was the Biden-Kamala campaign team would go around all over the U.S. to colleges and high schools to speak. It's because the young votes matter. They really do have the potential to overturn an election. And every one of you out there that think that is false or don't believe that, or believe that it may contribute a little bit but not be the full cause, you're crazy. Because this really could happen. And 2024 is more important now than ever. And so it's time to get serious. Where can people find you on your social platforms?
So I am on pretty much everything you can find. I'm at Caleb4NC, that's the number 4, on Instagram and Twitter. And then I'm on Facebook as well, under Caleb Edenburn.